Hello everybody, this is Bryan Sosack with the Men in Black Leather Studio. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to take a proper belt measurement. Now, if you're a customer, it's super important that we get this sizing right and follow these instructions very detailed and closely. And if you're a craftsman out there looking to get a good method of taking a belt measurement, this is the way that I personally use and highly recommend it. There's a whole bunch of reasons why getting the proper belt measurements are super important, mostly in part of depending on how nice your Craftsman is and isn't. If you get the wrong size belt measurement, you very well could be stuck with a belt that doesn't quite fit correctly. Or if you want to put your Craftsman through hell, you're gonna make them do a belt a second time because you measured it wrong. I'm gonna jump straight into the instructions, and then after the instructions, I'm gonna give a whole bunch of reasons and other methods people might take and why those don't necessarily work all the time, and why you and your Craftsman need to be on the same page in order to get you a belt that fits perfectly. I'll be showing you on a couple different belts how no matter what belt I put on, I'm gonna end up as the same belt measurement. So for this first belt, I have a very ill-fitting belt. So you're gonna put the belt on, look at it, see what hole you land on, and that's gonna be the hole you're gonna measure to. So for pretty much all belts, you're gonna be able to see where you landed on. There's usually going to be a pretty visible wear mark where it's tightened down or stretched. So you're going to go take your belt. You do this with a soft tape measure, a big yardstick, whatever will reach. You can see I'm going to hook this here down at the end where the fold is and measure out to where the hole is, which I am 40 right on the dot. As you can see right there, 40 inches. So as you can tell, that belt was way too big for me. So with this next belt, we're gonna do the same thing, but on a belt that's much smaller. Here is another belt where my tongue is very small and fits hardly through the keeper. We're gonna measure the same exact way and double check to see if that 40-inch mark is on the money. Even here, just laid out, you can see the sizing of the belt. This one's actually framed in the shot. The absolute difference in the size. So we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna take this tape measure, hook her down on the end, and again, where this wear hole is, I was in hole number 3 from the end. So 1, 2, 3, and you can see the hole where all the wear is, right at 40 inches. Now it doesn't matter if you use a tape measure, a yardstick, which just to show you again, boom, this is a 40-inch yardstick, so you can see it ends right here, right at that 40-inch mark. Or if you want to use a soft tape measure, right there, 40 inches again. So what we're gonna do now is going to chop a belt to the proper sizing, which is that 40-inch measurement, and you're gonna see that this belt should fit like a glove. So most crafters have these things called belt tips, where this basically gives them a perfect structure for how the tip of the belt should look. As you can see, I have this center one, highlighted. That's where, when we make your belt, which this one is gonna be 40 inches, we're gonna land it right here in the middle. That way we have adjustment up if we get bigger and adjustment smaller if we get smaller. So now this step of the process isn't one that you guys need to necessarily know or pay attention to, but this is showing you guys exactly how and why we get the belt measurement method we do. So you see I marked my little hole, so what I'm gonna do is slide this over the top. We're going to mark the tip as well as where these holes are going to go. And as you can see right here, this dark hole that I've scribbled in a little bit more is gonna be our 40-inch mark. So I'm gonna tip this and punch the holes. So there we have it, a belt that is made for a person with a 40-inch belt measurement. The reason why this is super important where we land on the extra hole is a lot of the times people are gonna go ahead and put their initials or a brand or something on the tip, and just for artistic effect, I'll slap my initials on there, maybe throw a little cactus. Let's try her on. It's kind of funny because I know this is gonna work, but because I'm on camera trying to show you guys exactly what I mean, there's this part of my brain that hopes that it's not wrong. Bang, bang, right there. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right in the middle, perfectly with the initials here visible at the tip. You don't have a tip that goes way down around the side where your initials are on your hip. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. Most leather crafters I know use this method because it's foolproof, it's universal, it can be translated from centimeters, it doesn't matter men's sizing, women's sizing, it's just tried and true. Now if you notice, these pants are bunched up quite a bit, and you might be thinking like, oh, he's cinching that super hard down. Don't get me wrong, I do like a snug fitting belt. Everybody likes their belts at different tightnesses. Also, your boy's been losing some lbs, baby. So these pants don't actually fit all too great. If you're feeling like not following the instructions that I laid out here in this first half, you're gonna find out why that is not a good idea. So we're gonna jump into the second half of this video. Since we were already talking about pant sizings and pants not necessarily fitting too well, the first mistake is going with a pant size rather than the actual belt measurement itself. Most people think pant size and belt measurement are the same thing. If you go to a big box stores like Cavender's or Boot Barn or anywhere else, even Target, Walmart, anywhere you can buy a belt, they tend to use this kind of rough metric for measuring. But as you saw in that very first giant belt that I had on, most of the store-bought belts will have a giant range, or they'll at least have a giant range of belts that you can try on to know where you kind of land on certain belts. Now, there's multiple reasons why pant size is not a good idea. The first one being, sometimes your pants are a little bit looser than you think they are. Sometimes your pants are a little tighter than you think they are. So for example, the pant size I have on right now is a 44. If we take the 44-inch measurement like these pants are, you'll see I've notated here on the belt, my 40-inch. You'll see that this belt won't even fit a 44. I mean, I can always punch a hole, but who wants to spend top dollar on a belt that doesn't quite fit right? There's a perfect example of why you don't want to do that. So another problem with pant size is not everybody even has the same size pants. I know personally, not only have I fluctuated weight in general kind of throughout my whole life, I recently lost a ton of weight as it is. So the pants I have on right now are 44s. This pair of pants I have are 46s, where I actually wear them usually high up. I also have pants that are 42 as well as 40 inches. So with that being said, you might find that Levi's fit a little more snug or a little bit looser than Wranglers. So like, you know, maybe you might be a 36 in Wranglers, but you might be a 38 in Levi's, depending on the fit of the pant. So you'll notice 2 inches might not be a lot, but it's the difference of fitting proper in the center hole and fitting out here. So now let's say maybe you have pants that are a little bit looser, as well as having a discrepancy between two companies. That might put you out 2 inches in actual fit, and then 2 inches again in pant discrepancy. That puts you out 4 whole inches. Super not good. Also, as many of you know, women's pant sizings don't work like men's pant sizing, so you can't go with pant size. Now, measurement mistake 2. This one is a little more accurate, but I still don't like to use it just because you're gonna see right now that there are many discrepancies. And method number 2 is taking the waist size. In absolute worst case scenarios where it is absolutely necessary, like for some reason you don't have a belt, this method is gonna be our best bet, or at least our runner-up method to taking sizing. So if you wanted to take a measurement using a soft tape measure, we're gonna slap it up and around our waist where we want the belt to sit at. And as you can see, we land at a 41, which is pretty accurate because if you remember, the size was 40. If you absolutely have to go with the soft tape measurement method and to actually measure around the waist, it is absolutely critical that you measure almost as directly on the skin as possible. Maybe you can actually pull your pants down a tiny bit and measure where, measure over the top of your underwear. If you have to get naked, you can get naked. I'm not there doing it. You can get weird in your own time. I'm not gonna judge you. Those are the 2 big no-nos and measurements people tend to go with. The very last method that some people try and give me is they will measure from the fold to the tip of the belt and say, well, the whole overall belt length is at this point, if this is 40, I'd guess maybe 50 inches. So this is like 50 inches from the fold to the tip. As you can imagine, and as you've seen, how that does not work, just super inaccurate way of taking a measurement. So those are the 3 ways you do not want to take measurements for a belt. Now I want to talk about some other don'ts when it comes to getting this belt measurement. I want to acknowledge the fact that a lot of belt orders tend to be gifts for people. I know you want this to be a surprise, but what you super don't want is to spend top dollar for a high quality belt that doesn't fit correctly. So there are plenty of ways of sneaking and getting the measurement. The easiest way is obviously if you actually live with the person you're gifting it to. This is for like the wives who are getting it for their husbands. You might need to sneak and get creative when he's in the restroom. You know, you might need to wait until a weekend when he's out working on the lawn, or he's wearing, you know, shorts or something where he's not actually wearing his belt. The second thing, do not stray from the instructions. Don't let somebody else stray from the instructions. You don't stray from the instructions. You saw me take that measurement and you saw the way that the belt fit. It fit perfectly, and that's exactly how we want this thing to fit. And the very last don't that I want to put out there is be very careful with the belt you are measuring. Make sure, you know, you're not using something with any elastic in it that stretches aggressively. You know, a lot of like fashion women's style belts might be a little stretchier than you might realize. You know, maybe if they're super narrow, you don't realize how much give is in that narrow belt because it's just stretched over time. Anything that is blatantly elastic, do not take the measurements off that. You'd be better off getting the waist measurement I showed earlier. Just give it a nice little tug, like so. If it stretches a little bit, you're probably gonna be okay, but if it's pretty noticeable and you can really get some distance out of it, you know, maybe be communicative and say something. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. I hope it was helpful. If you are a customer and are watching this, I'm super excited to make this belt for you. It's gonna be sick, it's gonna fit good. Just need to follow those instructions. For everybody else on YouTube, I hope this was informative. I hope this helps. I hope you can take this and use this as your own method for measurement. I know a lot of people use it. Like I said, it's tried and true. Can't mess it up. Thank you guys for watching. If you thought it was entertaining, enjoyable, whatever, like, comment, subscribe. Posting videos all the time. And I will catch you guys in the next one.